As Prince Andrew, formerly the Duke of York, settles into what looks like an entirely new phase of life tucked away at Sandringham, many people are asking the same question: could things have turned out differently for him? Could anyone have stepped in, altered the course, or even saved him from the position he finds himself in today? When we zoom out and examine the broader story of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, it becomes almost impossible to deny that many of the decisions that shaped his downfall were decisions he made himself. There were moments, pivotal crossroads, where he might have changed direction. Yet he chose not to. We know that members of Congress wanted him to speak, to give some form of account. He declined. Many argue that his most catastrophic misjudgment was agreeing to sit down with the BBC for that now infamous interview. Behind the scenes, he reportedly told his mother, the late Queen Elizabeth, that the interview had gone extremely well. But what the world discovered was quite the opposite. The BBC, already seen by many as less than sympathetic to the monarchy, something that resurfaced recently when presenters repeatedly referred to Catherine, Princess of Wales, by her maiden name during a live broadcast, was perhaps not the safest or wisest platform for him to choose. In hindsight, a little more caution and better judgment might have changed everything. And now, behind palace walls, new whispers suggest that someone within the monarchy may believe they could have saved him. As always, let me explain. Good morning, everyone. Lovely to have you with me, and a warm welcome to all new subscribers. It's one of those days when the light falls just right, making the world look a bit gentler than it usually does during the winter months, if we can still call it winter at this point. I hope you're doing well wherever you are, and yes, please keep sending in those wonderful local recipes. Someone recently reminded me that the pink-topped sponge cake I once mentioned is known as Tottenham cake. You see it across London, but hardly anywhere in the north. It's funny how food can tell you exactly where you are. And yes, Tottenham cake with a scoop of ice cream is dangerously good. But enough about desserts, let's turn back to today's story. When you really think about Prince Andrew's situation, it's hard not to conclude that he might have had a very different future if he hadn't insisted on handling everything himself. He shaped his own public image, managed his own messaging, and ultimately fell into a series of missteps. The sweating, the not sweating, the timelines, everything that followed made matters worse. And now, new headlines appear almost weekly. For instance, the Mayfair nightclub Annabelle's reportedly no longer welcomes him or Sarah Ferguson. In truth, it feels more like a publicity grab than anything meaningful. After all, when were they last there? But once someone is sliding downward, everyone rushes to distance themselves. What makes this even more complex is speculation that King Charles acted swiftly to contain the expanding negative attention surrounding the Epstein files. Some people draw comparisons to a moment decades ago involving the former royal butler Paul Burrell. Burrell, who has built an entire post-palace career on his association with the late Princess Diana, once made public claims about holding intimate memories he wished to share with Princes William and Harry. Yet, considering the long-distance relationship he now has from the inner workings of the monarchy, these claims are hard to take at face value. Burrell was also famously accused of removing items from Kensington Palace. During his trial, he said the Queen suddenly remembered a conversation with him that supposedly cleared his name. Whether or not that version aligns with her own perspective is something we will never know. And this brings us to the heart of the matter: who, if anyone, could have intervened to protect Prince Andrew from the fallout he faces today? According to a well-placed source inside the palace, the only figure with enough authority, influence, and familial understanding to alter Andrew's course was King Charles III. However, the circumstances are very different from those in the Burrell case. The Epstein files are still being released in gradual fragments, and the public is told a major disclosure could arrive within about a month. The situation is active, sensitive, and far more consequential. The source explained that the king was forced to make a firm decision. He reportedly wanted clarity, truth, and full disclosure from Andrew. But Andrew, according to this account, could not provide further details that satisfied him. Combined with pressure from Prince William, who, as the Prince of Wales, has a long-term stake in the monarchy's image, Charles felt he had no choice but to take the decisive actions we now know: the removal of titles, the withdrawal from public duties, and the quiet relocation of his brother to Sandringham. Andrew believed, especially while his mother was still alive, that he might someday reclaim public trust and rehabilitate his role. But that opportunity dissolved. Without coming forward with a more complete and updated explanation, particularly about the timeline of his association with Epstein, he left the king with almost no room to maneuver. Now Andrew lives in isolation from official royal life. He can attend private family events, but the public stage is no longer open to him. And according to that senior source, Andrew quietly believes the king could have changed his fate. Whether that belief is fair or accurate is something only those closest to the situation can truly know. What is clear is that the king's decision must have been extraordinarily difficult, balancing duty, public trust, personal loyalty, and the long-term survival of the monarchy. And so the question now lingers. If you had been in King Charles's position, weighing loyalty to a brother against loyalty to an entire institution, what would you have done?